You're watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Julia Wiegand. The Colonial Pipeline shutdown has hit some states pretty hard, and people are now out and about lining up for gas. Our Philip Kaufman drove around the local scene this morning to find out if or just how much of this happened to really hit home.
Here on the east coast of the United States, the effects of the Colonial Pipeline shutdown have created an increase in gas prices, long lines at stations, and in some cases, emptied the stations on their supply. If you're unaware of what occurred, last week, Colonial Pipeline, the 5,500-mile pipeline that delivers roughly 45% of the fuel used on the East Coast, was hacked by a Russian ransomware group called DarkSide. The pipeline company was forced to pause the line's operations after the hackers accessed its computer systems. U.S. officials and the Colonial Pipeline say that they hope to get fuel flowing fully again this week and have insisted that there's no shortage. Though the South was the hardest hit, with stations beginning to report that they were out of fuel. Governors from North Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia have declared a state of emergency. Prices have been on the rise as of recent, and locally some stations have been seen with heavy lines with the news, as many worry regarding the increase in demand. The Biden administration is requesting drivers not hoard gasoline, and the U.S. Energy Secretary urged motorists not to panic buy fuel. Traveling around the local area, there was little to no evidence of this affecting the stations other than an increase in prices. According to one local owner, he's not surprised if people are rushing for gas, but hasn't seen a major effect for his business so far.
Yeah, but like this starting week, we have a lot of people come from outside. I know my regular customer, but yesterday or today, I saw like different people. A lot of people come for gas, and they scared maybe be shortage in gas. Actually, we are people, we don't know what's going on, but people are scared maybe gas is out of stock. That's why they come and fill up gas tank and plus other tank. Like they want to keep stock in home.
Reporting for WYLN News, I'm Philip Kaufman.
Thank you, Phil. A Newark, New Jersey man attempted to elude police during a high-speed chase last week on Interstate 80. State police found 25-year-old Jonathan Palacio sleeping inside a vehicle on the shoulder of I-80 West in Sugarloaf Township back on May 6th. He told troopers he was on his way to California, but had a suspended license. As police checked out his information, Palacios took off and led police on a chase reaching 80 miles per hour. Troopers finally stopped him near mile marker 245 and took him into custody. Palacios was charged with fleeing or attempting to elude police, reckless endangerment, and several traffic violations. He was arraigned with bail set at $75,000. Two people in Luzerne County are facing numerous drug charges after a search warrant was executed at their Hanover Township residence. Authorities searched the Monaghan Court residence of 32-year-old Peter Seharzewska and 37-year-old Robin Ellen Olkey on Tuesday. They uncovered meth, fentanyl, marijuana, crack cocaine, and MDMA tablets, all with a street value of around $20,000. Both were charged with possession with intent to deliver, possession of a controlled substance, and conspiracy to deliver a controlled substance. Olkey was also charged with endangering the welfare of children. The duo was taken to Luzerne County Prison for lack of $200,000 bail each. Luzerne County Council voted to form a committee that'll seek legal advice on the Board of Elections' decision to hold an election for district attorney. Governor Tom Wolf signed legislation back on March 23rd that revised the process of how a DA position is filled. The county assistant solicitor reportedly said that Sam Sanguadolce would fill out the term of Stephanie Salavantis, who resigned back in March to run for Luzerne County judge. Salavantis' term was set to expire in 2023, but the election board decided to schedule an election for the DA's position this November. Council members voted 6-5 to form an ad hoc committee, which would get a court to decide as to whether the election board made the right decision. Luzerne County mail-in voters are being urged to check their return address envelopes. The mistake was reportedly made by an Ohio-based vendor, as a small number of ballots had the wrong return address printed on them. They were incorrectly addressed to the Mercer County Election Bureau. Residents who received the wrong envelopes can get a new outer envelope by coming to the Penn Place building on North Pennsylvania Avenue in Wilkes-Barre. Those who are unable to can call 570-825-1715 to have the new envelopes personally delivered by the Bureau. Luzerne County voters who already mailed in their ballots don't have to worry. The Mercer County Election Bureau has been made aware of the mistake and will have them immediately sent back to Luzerne. Colleges across the area will be receiving federal funding to help them recover from losses due to the pandemic. $58 million will be distributed to help both students and institutions throughout NEPA. Half of the funding must be used in the form of cash assistance grants for students facing homelessness or other hardships. The remaining funding can be used towards student and staff safety measures and academic assistance, as well as technology. The Hazleton Area Career Center will be receiving just over $73,000. Luzerne County Community College will receive over $11,875,000, while King's College will get over $5 million and Lackawanna over $7 million. Over $39 billion was distributed to higher education institutions nationwide through the American Rescue Plan. Millions of people nationwide are now eligible to receive help with paying monthly internet bills through an emergency government program. The program's been administered by the FCC to help lower-income households during the pandemic. Eligible households will get $50 off their monthly internet bill and could receive a one-time discount of up to $100 to purchase laptops, tablets, or desktops from a participating provider if they contribute more than $10 toward the price. In order to qualify, households must have an income at or below 135% of the federal poverty level. It's also available to those who have experienced a substantial loss of income because of the pandemic. Visit getemergencybroadband.org for the complete list of eligibility requirements. Coming up on WYLN News, the reign of Cougar baseball, plus more on the Steelers' picks and coaching situation. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ezra. I'm 5 years old, and it's sunny out, so break your sunglasses.
There's no better place to shoot than Whitetail Preserve. Their skeet trap and sporting clay fields are professionally designed and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-455-4251 extension 1378 for more information. WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. You can also head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online.
Hey guys, this is Ray Merrill from Blaze Alexander Mazda, Greater Hazelton. You want to get the most reliable car according to Consumer Reports? You want the largest selection in the area? Check out these new Mazdas. We have 2021 Mazda CX-5s. We have 2021 Mazda CX-30 all-wheel drives. Come on down to the better dealership to get the better car and the most reliable car in the market. You could come see us. They beat Toyota and Lexus. Come to 508 Susquehanna Boulevard in Hazelton. Check them out online at blazealexander.com.
After more than a year of COVID-canceled celebrations, the city of Wilkes-Barre is hoping to break out the red, white, and blue this summer at Kirby Park. Mayor George Brown announced that the city hopes to have something similar to years prior, but we'll need some help to keep the festivities alive this summer. Donations have been hard to come by, thanks to hardships brought on by the pandemic, but they can still be made payable to the city of Wilkes-Barre. The city's also looking for musical, entertainment, and food vendors for the event, so anyone interested can call 570-208-4157. Hazelton Area Cougar Baseball tacked on to their 16-game win streak last night to further dominate their rule over the Wyoming Valley Conference. The undefeated Cougars copped another dub Tuesday with an 8-run shutout against Wilkes-Barre area. Not only were they able to honor their 8 seniors on the home diamond last night, the Cougars ran circles around the Wolfpack with their 4th shutout in a row to clinch first place in the WVC. Hazelton area was scheduled to play the Tunkhannock Tigers today at 4:30 and will now go on to face off against the Pittston Patriots Thursday in their final regular season matchup. But regardless of the outcome concerning those back-to-back games, the Cougars will remain first place in the WVC. And everyone here at Wyln is wishing them nothing but the best of luck on their upcoming journey into playoff baseball. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs want their fans to help them strike out COVID. The Allentown Health Bureau is returning to Coca-Cola Park on Tuesday, May 25th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. to administer Moderna COVID-19 vaccinations to adults 18 and up, just prior to that evening's matchup at 7:05 p.m. And as a thank you, those who do get one can show their new vaccination card at the Provident Bank ticket office and receive a free ticket to the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs Worcester Red Sox matchup immediately after their shot. Those who get their first dose on the 25th at Coca-Cola Park will be able to get their second on Thursday, June 24th at the Allentown Fairgrounds anytime between 8:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. Wyln's all-time Otzi hero Marty Burns has the in-depth analysis of what's happening on and off-season across our viewing area. Joe Flanagan's back this week for the NFL Draft, so let's talk sports. Here's part 3.
And now we move to the Keystone State, and we'll go with those Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of fans wondering, is this going to be it for Big Ben? They didn't take a quarterback.
Right.
They did re-up with Rudolph. And their first pick, a lot of people were down on it. I think this was an unsung part of this Alabama offense, and we're talking about the running back Najee Harris.
I mean, being Notre Dame fans, both of us, when he made that hurdle over, Notre Dame's defense was a pretty solid unit last year, and he jumped over him. Like, wow. So, he's just really dynamic. And listen, the SEC running backs, they again, not to bash that point, they really do a great job just playing against talent.
And I think teams worried about a lot of SEC backs, but then we saw Henry with Tennessee really excel. And I think now they're starting to believe, these SEC backs, they can excel. I think we'll touch on the second pick that the Steelers made a little bit later in our discussion. But, typical Steelers, couple guys up front offensively, Loudermilk, defensive end from Wisconsin, an edge rusher, Roche from Miami, and then a huge punter, Presley Harvin III from Georgia Tech. But it's always the Steelers, they just come at you with size.
Yeah, they just want to bludgeon you up front. They just want to rush. They want to make your passer uncomfortable, and they just want to pound it. And like you said, we'll talk about the Penn State tight end shortly. Get you in that red zone play action, and hit a weapon in there.
And we talked about it. There's nothing wrong with stability. In our lifetime, the Steelers have had 3 coaches.
Right.
And we're talking Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and currently Mike Tomlin. to me, I think these guys that have quick triggers on the coaches maybe don't give these guys enough time.
And that's, and there's no secret why the Steelers, year after year, you pick up a pro football magazine or look at a website, the Steelers are always in the top 10 of a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Up on McAdoo's News Choice, we're talking allergies, asthma, and eczema on this Wellness Wednesday in Community and You. Plus, Leading the Way, Part 3. Stay with us.
This Good News Wednesday, we're back with Jackson Dempsey. You may remember Jackson. He had a parade in his honor for saving his sister's life when she choked on a chicken nugget. Well, now Jackson is at Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton as they award him with a certificate of bravery.
I think this is a great example of a case where it's never too young to learn. And I guess, most people have heard the story of where he got the idea for this and where he learned it, kind of. And I think it really speaks for the fact that kids, when they're interested in something, can really pick up things quickly at a young age and perform in the heat of the moment. It's really, really a great story.
Jackson even received a thank you from John Cena, who he credits for teaching him the life-saving technique. Congratulations, Jackson. That's your Good News Wednesday. Thank you for joining us here on WYLN.
Tune in this week to Let's Talk Chiropractic. PJ here is a low-wing towing man that works very hard, but when he twists and bends, he goes to Dr. Alex for chiropractic. So let's see how Dr. Alex helps PJ, who helps you.
All Care Home Care, providing quality in home care since 1986. Call and see how their team of licensed physical therapists, skilled nurses, speech, and occupational therapists can provide you with exceptional service in the comfort of your own home. They also offer dietitian, home health aide, and medical social worker services. You have a choice in your health care. For safe, friendly, qualified care, call All Care Home Care today and let their team begin taking care of you and your loved ones.
At Grand Central, our family has been supplying your family with quality brand name furniture, mattresses, and appliances for over 3 generations. Whether you choose from our excellent selection of Lazy Boy, Catnapper, or England furniture, or from our fantastic selection of Sealy and Stearns & Foster mattresses, we guarantee total comfort in every room of your home.
With expert advice,
everyday low prices,
plus interest-free financing for up to 60 months.
From our family to your family.
Grand Central in Hazleton. Everything to make your house a home.
Welcome to Community and You here on WYLN. I'm Julia Wiegand, and we've got another Wellness Wednesday episode for you, thanks to our friends over at Lehigh Valley Health Network. Today, again, we are on location at the Health Center at Mountaintop with LVPG pediatrician Dr. Bhumi Patel. How are you, Dr. Patel?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So today we are going to be going over allergies, asthma, eczema, and how all three seem to tie together during this time of year. So, Dr. Patel, what's the easiest way to explain each individually?
So typically, what I tell my parents, especially starting in the newborn period, is if there's a family history of any of those, what we consider them to tie together is what we call the atopic march. So these families, these kids, they have more of this particular type of cell called IgE antibodies, and they usually start in the newborn period with eczema, then they develop allergies as they become older, and then they become, as they become more older, they start developing asthma. And so that's how they're all kind of tied together. So if I see kids that have really bad eczema in the newborn period that develop seasonal allergies, I worry that maybe as they do start school or sports, then they start getting asthma.
Now, when it comes to all three of them, and now that the weather is starting to cooperate with us, what are some of the worries that a parent should be on the lookout for, or you as a pediatrician will be on the lookout for when it comes to eczema or asthma flare-ups and or allergy symptoms and whatnot?
So eczema tends to get worse in the sun, and I hope now with children going out more, with COVID restrictions decreasing and stuff, everyone's dying to get out of the house, the weather's getting nice, so I've seen more dry skin, more eczema flare-ups, along with the seasonal allergies, a lot of kids inhaling that pollen, other pollution, other bugs that they could be inhaling that could affect their airways, and they could constrict or make the airways really small, causing the asthma to flare up.
And when it comes to seeking treatment for their child, obviously they'd be going to you as a pediatrician. So what would be some of the ways that you would help them treat or maintain just keeping their allergies down, the asthma, the eczema? So eczema, the biggest treatment takeaway for eczema I tell all my patients is moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. Yes, we have topical steroid ointments that you can use, but eczema is just dry skin. It's when you have a break in your top layer of defense, your skin, and so you want to keep that skin moisturized. If it gets to the point where it's very severe, they're itching, they're staying up at night itching, then we would do the topical steroids. But again, even when you apply the topical steroid, we moisturize on top of that. And asthma is almost a tricky one too. It's definitely per each child when it comes to asthma. It could just be as simple as an inhaler, or sometimes I've had friends growing up that have had to take medication. So again, we try to limit or minimize the triggers that can cause asthma flare-ups, one of them being allergies this time of the year. So I usually tell my patients start pre-medicating even before allergy season starts, even before the pollen count goes up. So antihistamines are your mainstay for allergy treatments. A lot of patients get dry eye, so you could do antihistamine or eye drops. And then the important thing with asthma is if you start a flare-up, don't wait. Take your rescue inhaler, take that albuterol, even 15 to 20 minutes before you anticipate you're going to go out, and that will keep your airways open. And that allergy season, it's spring and it's fall. So when are the windows that parents should be on the lookout for their child? So children can have allergies either throughout the year or at particular times, especially in the springtime and the fall time is when I see it worse. One of my allergists that I work with said she would start telling parents, as soon as St. Patrick's Day starts, start taking that antihistamine up until the first frost in October. So what is the big message that you'd like to make parents or guardians aware of when it comes to watching out for the trifecta? So definitely, if you are concerned, better to let us know, better to start medication treatment right away, rather than it, getting worse and having them go to the ER with an asthma attack. And all of these things are, of course, manageable when it comes to treating, like whether it's medication or whether it's just lotion, for example. Yep. So important is just educate. If you're not sure, at every well child visit and every sick visit, we talk about this treatment. If you're out of your medication, make sure you call the office. We can refill the medication. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Patel, for again squeezing us in today. Yeah, thank you. And thank you, everybody watching out there. Remember that trifecta may sound scary: asthma, eczema, and allergies. But don't worry about it. Once you make a visit to your pediatrician, they will be able to make sure that your child doesn't stay up all night with the eczema scratching, doesn't have an asthma attack, and keeps those allergies at bay. So thank you, everybody, for joining us on this Wellness Wednesday Community and You. We'll see you next time here on Wyln.
If you're looking for an affordable pre-owned car or truck, Chura's Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, dependable, and quality vehicles. Stop in 610 North Broad Street, West Hazleton, 570-454-7229.
Wyln TV 35 is looking for part-time seasonal live sports videographers and production crew. Evening and weekend work is required. Candidates should have experience in sports production and camera operation. Please contact Wyln TV 35 at 570-459-1869 extension 1172 or email news@wylntv.com.
Penn State Hazleton is improving the lives of others, starting in our community. providing degrees that meet the needs of the area.
Fueling entrepreneurship and contributing more than $36 million annually to the state's economy.
Researching the health of our local ecosystem on the Susquehanna River.
Together, our impact keeps growing, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
WYLN CA35's children's programming is designed with the specific purpose of serving the educational and informational needs of children. In compliance with FCC guidelines, a copy of the Children's Programming Report is on file for public inspection at WYLN 1057 East 10th Street in Hazleton, Pennsylvania during normal business hours. To view the report online, visit fcc.org.
WYLN's going behind the scenes to learn more about the lives and goals of our local leaders. So, Mike Camisa is leading the way into part 3 of this week's series.
And welcome back to this week's Leading the Way with Mike Camisa. So for those who may not understand what your role is at ICS, could you go a little bit in depth about what you do for the school?
Sure. Well, let's start with what ICS is. Emmanuel Christian School. It is what I'd like to say the private school for those who can't afford private school. We have 70% of low-income students, and over half of our students are actually Latino. So we're very reflective of the community that we serve. And my job is to go out into the business community, kind of network, and raise some funds for low-income families to attend our school. So we've got this tax credit program, the Education Improvement Tax Credit Program in Pennsylvania, where businesses and individuals who make large amounts of money can redirect their taxes to the school for scholarships instead of sending it to Governor Wolf in the state of Pennsylvania. So that's primarily what I do. In addition, I do a little bit of IT support, just because I'm the youngest guy there, and some facilities work, but mostly networking, community outreach, and development.
And how's it felt being in that kind of role, that position?
I absolutely love it. Never in a million years did I think I would work for a private K-12 school. But like I said, we're not your typical private school. I came from public education. I loved it, but it's extremely rewarding when you get to help these young kids who, maybe weren't successful at the public school, but really find their home and succeed and to grow and eventually go off and be successful. So I'm extremely proud to be with Emmanuel Christian. I love the work and I love what we do.
All right, folks. Check back tomorrow night as Mike continues leading the way into part 4 of this week's segment. Good night.
And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page or WYLNTV.com. You can also find LVHN's real facts about COVID-19. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.